At some point in your life, someone asks you what you want to achieve. You smile, you say something to give them an answer. And years later, you remember the weight of that question. But you don't remember what you said. That's what I want to talk about today. Because fundamentally, that person touched on something in you that you don't have a concrete answer for. And that is ambition. That's the word. But here's my question. How do you know you actually want to achieve what you want to achieve? Where does that drive come from? Ambition is a loaded word. In English, it starts neutral. Ambitious can be admiration. Blinded by ambition can be a warning. The judgment lives in the sentence around it, not in the word itself. But I grew up between two languages. And in Chinese, the judgment is already baked in. 野心, greed. 抱负, nobility. 志向, simply the direction your will is pointed. 3 words, 3 completely different verdicts. The word was never as stable as we thought, and yet we've been building our lives on top of it. Not examining our ambition is a little like building a house on a foundation you've never once inspected. It holds until it doesn't. And when it shifts, you won't just lose the house. You'll wonder how you never noticed the foundation was never stable in the first place. I didn't always question the word ambition. For a long time, I just lived inside it, letting it tell me who I was and where I was going. And then one day, it went quiet, and I realized I didn't know what was underneath it. And I don't think I'm alone in that. The ambition a lot of people spent years building, the specific career-shaped ambition that makes sense in a world that no longer exists, it's losing its form. Not because they lost their drive, but because something broke. AI is reshaping entire industries overnight. Maybe you spent years building expertise in the field and then watched AI absorb parts of it, not all of it, just enough to make you wonder, what exactly am I still building toward? When the structure that held your ambition together shifts, you don't just lose direction, you lose the ground you were standing on. And this is happening everywhere in different forms. Gap year, quiet quitting, pivoting, starting over, different names, different contexts. But there is a hidden question underneath all of them. The old ambition no longer makes sense, and the new one hasn't arrived yet. And here's what I think happens when ambition really breaks down, at least from my experience. The first thing I lost was my pride, then my self-trust. And I realized my previous self-trust was never really mine. It was borrowed, built on achievements, on recognition, on what I imagined other people thought of me. When those disappeared, the self-trust had nothing left to stand on. And then I felt weak, vulnerable, and even felt a little sorry for myself. But then a very deep question arrived. The one underneath all the ambition, underneath all the goals, plans, and 5-year visions. Who am I without my past ambition? That question, that's the void worth sitting with. And for me, it became the starting point that reconnected me to my strength. And in that space, I started to wonder if the ambition was just gone, like it had evaporated. Like the person who wanted things so clearly was a previous version of me, and this version seemed somehow less. But that word, seems, matters. I kept looking for the ambition in the old place, the shape it used to take, the goals it used to point toward, the drive I used to wake up with. And when I couldn't find it there, I assumed it was gone. Losing ambition feels a bit like moving out of a place that used to feel like home, except you didn't choose to move, and then you don't have anywhere to go yet. Your furniture is in storage, everything important is in boxes, and people keep asking, so how's the new place? You smile, you say something. That's the experience of the void. Not dramatic, just displaced, waiting for a new ambition that hasn't taken shape yet. And in all that waiting, I kept thinking the ambition was gone. It wasn't. Here's what I slowly came to understand. Ambition isn't a fixed thing. It's fluid. It comes and goes. It changes depending on where you are in life. It's like water. It takes the shape of whatever container it's in. And for a long time, my container looked like degrees, titles, knowledge, things I had worked hard for, things I genuinely wanted. They weren't just inherited shapes I passively accepted. The wanting was real. The effort was real. Those containers were mine. But when the container broke, I thought the water had disappeared too. It hadn't. The container broke, the water didn't disappear. It just didn't have a form yet. So what do you do while the water is still finding its shape? I can only tell you what I found when I stopped looking in the old place. I found nothing. And for a while, that nothing was terrifying. But slowly I understood nothing is also the only honest place to start from. Not from what you achieved, not from what people thought of you, not even from what you used to think of yourself, not from the container that broke. From this, from here, from what remains when everything borrowed has been returned. I started trying things, stepping into territory I didn't recognize. Small things at first. And slowly, something that grew out of me began to take shape. From something quieter, something that was actually mine. And that process, it's not dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't look like ambition from the outside. It feels like being asked to take one small step, and then another, steadily, quietly, from a much more grounded place. So if you're in the void right now, if you're in that place that used to feel like home, with everything in storage and no idea where to look for the new place, I won't tell you it gets easier or smoother quickly. It didn't for me. But I will tell you this. Starting from nothing is not the same as being nothing. There's a difference. And acting from that difference, that's where it begins. Because the ambition didn't leave, like the water, the container did. Where are you right now? Still looking in the old place or somewhere new? Leave it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. If this video touched something you've been sitting with, subscribe and share it with someone who might need to hear it too. I'll see you in the next one.